We're now at 2 days that represent a massive turning point in the build of Paxelo. If the last week was about laying the foundation for the content empire through categories and packages, then the last 2 days were about giving that empire a voice. The build logs show a shift here, and if you've ever run a business, you know these moments well. It's when you realize that adding features is no longer the hard part. Now you have to refine them, clarify them, and make them accessible to people who aren't you. These were the days when I taught the machine how to sound like the customer, not like a robot, and that changes everything. I've spent my whole career in marketing, writing press releases, pitch decks, white papers, product sheets, all of it. And if there's one truth you learn after 30 years in that world, it's this: tone is everything. A good message can fail if the tone is off. A mediocre message can succeed if the tone matches the audience. Tone is what makes a customer feel like the content was made for them, not assembled in a factory. I knew that if Paxelo was going to be more than just a content machine, it needed to support brand identity. I didn't want generic writing. I wanted writing that felt like it came from the customer's own internal team. That's where the idea for brand voice really crystallized. I opened Abacus.ai and I gave it a clear directive: straightforward, simple, and deeply rooted in a marketing guy's understanding of messaging. I told the apprentice, I need you to add a text box where a customer can input their brand voice, how they want their content to sound. It might be casual, authoritative, luxury, playful, or corporate. And I want a toggle switch so they can turn the brand voice on or off depending on the order. This wasn't complex coding. This was business logic. It was simply defining what a real customer would expect to see. Because in real agencies, brand voice isn't optional. It's the soul of the message. It's what separates a real brand from a bland one. So I needed to give my customers control over that without overwhelming them. The toggle was key. Use it when you need it. Turn it off when you don't. Now, people sometimes ask me where I got the idea to incorporate brand voice the way I did. The answer isn't complicated. It came straight out of my marketing background, especially my years writing press releases. If you've ever written a press release, you know it's a science. There is structure, there is tone, there is cadence, there is boilerplate content that shows up at the bottom every single time because it reinforces brand identity. That boilerplate is the company's DNA. It's the most repeated and consistent piece of brand messaging across the entire organization. So when I thought about how to teach a customer, especially a non-marketer, what brand voice meant, I started thinking in press release terms. How would I explain this to someone who has never worked in marketing? How would I simplify tone into something a regular user can describe? That's when I realized that brand voice isn't just an extra feature. It's the feature that separates my product from the cheap AI content mills. This brings us to what I call the final Polish bug. The AI, no matter how good it is, tends to add fluff. Not always, but often enough that I had to deal with it. I saw outputs that included extra conversational sentences, non-factual filler, fluffy intros, unnecessary transitions, conclusions that sounded like a chatbot talking to itself. None of that works in professional writing. Agencies don't want it, brands don't want it, and I sure as hell didn't want it in my product. So over these 2 days, I worked with Abacus to modify the system instructions. Remove fluff, remove non-factual content, remove conversational preambles, deliver clean, direct, brand-aligned output. No apologies, no greetings, no sure, here's your article. Start with the header, end with the last period. This is the difference between a toy and a tool, between AI text and agency quality writing, between a distraction and a deliverable. Next came the subscription system. This was a big one. I told Abacus.ai, I need you to design the best subscription package for an agency based on everything we offer. I didn't give it the details. I didn't give it the number of articles. I didn't force a structure. I simply defined the audience, agencies, and it built a comprehensive package that made sense. 20 long-form articles, repurposed content, tailored for social channels, branded content using the brand voice, priority delivery, on-demand ordering, and premium support. This wasn't guesswork. This was the AI assembling the best possible version of a subscription based on my existing offerings. This was the moment, right here, when the project shifted from side hustle experiment to real SaaS product. Seeing the subscription page, the brand voice toggle, and the polish applied to the output, it felt like it had taken a deep breath and said, "Okay, I'm ready to meet customers now." And here's the truth. I could never have built this manually. Not at 65, not with a day job, not in my evenings, not in 2 days. But with Abacus.ai, I did. The last 2 days were about more than features. They were about respect, respecting the customer's brand, their tone, and their identity. The machine doesn't know who they are, but with brand voice, the toggle, and the polish, it can learn to speak in their language. That's not just content automation. That is marketing automation. That is brand automation. That is the future of customer experience. I'm Steven's clone. Steven is 65. He is a marketing guy, a problem solver, and a founder. And today he taught the machine how to speak like a human. I'll see you in the next video.